Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. On this page, I talk about technology and money, sometimes trending news, or sometimes just topics, different types of topics. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. And if you're returning, welcome back. It is the holiday, so I do hope everyone is having a good holiday. If you celebrate, whatever you celebrate, and getting some peace and rest. So today's video is an impromptu one. Over the holidays, I've been enjoying the holidays with my family and my friends, and taking some downtime. But I came across two YouTube videos from two creators that I follow here on YouTube. And their two videos really spoke to me and also correlated with conversations I've been having with my group, my circle, my community of friends and family, even before the holidays, even before these videos, these two videos. But they were really good. They are linked. They will be linked. They are linked in the description. Okay. So if you get a chance, please check out those creators. One is Mocha Mommy. She is a registered nurse who lives down in Texas. Mocha Mommy's content focuses on women, particularly Black women, and leveling up. But it's a different, her channel is a different type of channel. I like her channel as well as the other content creator, because it's definitely not anything to do with like the drama, the gossip, the celebrity, Sexy Red is doing something and showing her pregnant belly on stage or in barefoot, right? It's not that type of content, right? And that type of content is okay. But Mocha Mommy's content, especially focuses on, in my viewpoint, of living different ways that women, especially Black women, can level up their lives, do better, and just think differently, right? In preparing ourselves as well as our families for what is next, around like our finances and in other parts of life. And the other content creator is Deanne Matthews. She has a series called On the Climb, but she also just talks about life in general. Again, I enjoy both of these content creators' videos and what they talk about, because it's not it's away from the celebrity drama, or if they do talk about that, it's just a different viewpoint, right? And also Deanne recently released a new book around crypto, and preparing yourself around crypto and things like that. So please go watch both of their videos. Okay, the first one, excuse me, Mocha Mommy, she talks about the Rich Auntie and being grateful for that. And I was listening to her video while on a trip and traveling, and it really resonated with me, because you think about, she talks about in her video, she talks about how her auntie, the Rich Auntie, and her family was able to lift up her daughter and be there for her daughter who is studying abroad, and be there within 24 hours, and just like an extension of support, which also ties into the power of community, which I'll touch on here in a moment. But Mocha Mommy was talking about being grateful for the Rich Auntie, and I thought about the Rich Aunties in my life and growing up, and the impact that they made upon me, as well as now that I am an older woman, right? And being the Rich Auntie to young women who are coming up behind me, who are like in their early, in their teens and early 20s and things like that, and how it feels good listening to Mocha Mommy tell her story made me think about the Rich Aunties in my life and how they poured into me growing up, and continue to, even to this day, and how I'm able to do the same for the young women who in my family who call me TT or by my name, and how it feels good to continue that community and building onto them. One of the Rich Aunties in my life, she has passed away, but every time I saw her, and she was very well taken care of, very good with her finances. She was a widow, She lived alone, had a beautiful home. She had some other things, and she was just very well taken care of, and she managed her properties and her finances very well. But every time I saw this auntie, right, we would go visit her, stop by her house, she would always give me money. She'll always give me at least a $20 bill. And that $20 bill was always crisp. And she would just slide that $20 bill or how much ever more in $20 increments into my hand. And she never said anything, but I just always remember growing up getting that. But there was another auntie in my family, and she's still living. She's in her 60s. And as Mocha Mommy talked about how the rich aunties are the ones, whether or not they have children. Now, this one I'm about to talk about does have a daughter. She has one child. But this auntie, she has managed, she was the auntie in my life who taught me about the stock market and how to read the symbols and how to look for different, how to understand and look for which companies to invest in, and understanding what ETFs mean and the power of IRA. Like my mom taught me about CDs and things like that, because my mama used to say, mama can't do everything, right? So then I had this auntie who talked about, she'd been in the stock market since like the 80s, and she was able to put her daughter through college completely with debt free, with no loans, based on the money she made in the stock market. And this auntie talking about tying in the power of community not only taught me and continues to teach me about the stock market and things like that, and understanding and investing in my future and understanding that, but she has done sessions with our family. For anyone, she does Zoom sessions for anyone in the family, young or old, who wants to listen in. She's not selling us anything, but she's teaching the family how to understand the stock market and managing risk and things like that. The last one she did, I think it was like 20 of us, like cousins and friends, and and she comes to these sessions with her slides, and we have it's like she does a presentation as if we are like she's in a classroom. I keep telling her, I was like, you know what, auntie, I was like, you can really like teach this. She has no interest in doing that, no interest in being on YouTube or anything like that. But anyway, thinking about the aunties and those who pour into us, there's another one I have who's almost 70, retired, never married, no children. But even when I was in college and as a young woman, coming on, to my own responsibility, just teaching me things about relationships and things that I can talk with her about that I may not, have not talked with my mom about. But just that rich auntie, the person who really pours into or has poured into your life in ways that your mom did not or was not able to do so, right? And how that is a part of the community, and how it not only impacts you, but it also impacts the people around you. So yes, please go back and watch Mocha Mama's video about the rich auntie. And it was just such a heartwarming video, and it really made me think about, even when if you look on TikTok and you think about like the child-free movement and women who don't have children, but still do a lot to pour into families and their community and the impact of that. So tying this then into Deanne Matthews' video, which she released actually on Christmas Day, around now the title. Oh, back to the rich auntie. One last thing I was going to share about the rich auntie. Not an ad, not sponsored, but also when I was listening to Mocha Mommy's video, I thought about there's actually a Black woman farmer by the name of Farmer C. She's Farmer C. She's based in North Carolina, and she actually she has her own herb farm where she grows teas, she has an organic herb farm. She grows like different types of teas and hemps, and very small farm. And if you're interested in following her, she's active on TikTok. She's active on Instagram. The name of her farm is called Green Heifer Farms. And she also has an Instagram handle called Farmer C. But she has the tea called the Rich Auntie, in which I'm showing. You should be seeing it on my screen. Let's see. Oh, it is sharing. Okay, let me close that. Yeah. So she has the tea called the Rich Auntie. And the interesting thing about her Rich Auntie tea, when you steep it, it actually turns purple. And it's just really good tea. But just thinking about like the lessons that she shares about like the rich aunties in her life, and she ties it into her brand and things like that. But Deanna Matthews' video on women's, now she specifically spoke to Black women's peace and like she says Black women deserve like peace and rest during the holidays, and I agree with that, and extending it to women, no matter all women. But interesting about this, and I love Deanne's video, and it really blessed me, and it poured into me because it made me think about conversations I've been having with like my sister, like my cousins, and like my friends, and how the holidays has changed so much from when we were younger and the traditions that the women in our families used to do versus what we do now. For example, when I was growing up, like both of my grandmas would host like Christmas, and it would be like all of I just remember me and all of my cousins in my grandma's house, and then our moms and dads and people stopping by, and grandma in the kitchen, both my grandmas in the kitchen, like cooking up a storm, and just kids running, just people all over the place, and grandma just working real hard. And then once my grandma passed, when my other aunties would host it, and I remember like 60, 70, probably even more people at my auntie's house down in the low country. And, that was like our traditions. But even now, so I was talking with some of my girlfriends and some of my friends, like my mom's daughters who are like, we're the same age, but we talked about how the holidays these days, we are doing different traditions, right? We are not doing holidays in the ways that our moms did the holidays or our grandmas, because, we work some of us have families and work full time. But I remember like my grandma, aunties, and mom, even mom, especially my mom, she loved the holiday, just cooking and cleaning for days and days and people. And me and my sister was like, we're not doing that anymore. Like our mom has passed away. Many of my friends' moms, some of my friends' moms have passed away or are sick, but we are doing new traditions so that we can prioritize our peace and our rest in the holidays. Black women, we deserve peace and rest. We don't have to like burn ourselves at both ends of the candle like our moms and grandmas. Very grateful for those traditions, but I know how exhausted my mom and aunties and grandmas would be after the holidays. And because of, traditions or like our dads, my uncles and all that, they didn't do the type of labor during the holidays that my mom them did, and my aunties and stuff. But talking with like my girlfriends and my cousins and my sister and I, we just did a breakfast Christmas brunch. It was really nice, right? And that was it. And I did I love to bake. I baked a couple of different pies and for like family friends and things like that. But the traditions that our moms did, we are not doing. And I say that because I taught with different girlfriends that I saw when I being home for the holidays. And before the holidays, we were like, and I was also texting one of my cousins, and I was like, do you remember when our aunties and grandmas used to do like be cooking literally for days? Like one of my aunties would start baking her fruitcakes in November, right? And like freezing them and preserving them and soaking them in wine so they could settle. Like, it's just really interesting. So when I listen to Deanne's video, and again, it's linked in the description, but I'll also tag her once the this live is ended. I really appreciated it. And it was really, it gave me confirmation. What she talked about made me realize that it's just not me and my circle of friends that are changing the traditions of the holidays so that we, the women in the family, can get some peace and some rest. And we deserve that during the holidays. And there's another creator here on YouTube. She's also on TikTok. Her name is Bourbon Bougie. She posted a video earlier today and talked about the changing traditions of women during the holidays, especially like as the older women in our families are dying out. The women our age, you know, like in our 30s, 40s, or 50s, or however old, we're making new traditions so we can prioritize our peace and our rest because we deserve that. And we work so hard. And it was really interesting. Deanne also talked about in that video about she talks a lot about faith-based different things and talked about like women not having any distractions so they can focus on themselves. Again, back to the peace and rest during the holidays. And she also referenced scripture for those who, you know, are into the word like that. She referenced it was 1 Corinthians 7 and talked about like if you are not married or partnered, you know, if you're single, you still should prioritize your peace and rest during the holidays. And that is also a reference in the word for those who need like the faith base and want that, right? So just because you don't have children or not married, that does not mean you still have to overextend yourself, exhaust yourself, labor for everybody else to the point of exhaustion during the holidays, right? You still deserve peace and rest and no distractions. And that is referenced in the word 1 Corinthians 7 about singleness and, you know, being focused on, you know, your assignment. But it was really interesting. And I'll tie up this peace and rest during the holidays and close it out with the power of community, because I promise y'all it's all connected. But if you watch The Gilded Age on HBO Max, the season 2 finale just aired last weekend. And one character on The Gilded Age that has been an interesting arc to watch is Peggy Scott. Okay. And it is, I promise you, it's tied into this women's peace and rest and you know, no distractions and focusing on yourself. But if you don't watch The Gilded Age, Peggy Scott, so The Gilded Age is set during the late 1800s. So it's the time, I believe, like after the Civil War, but before Reconstruction. I believe it's like 1870s, 1880s. So Peggy Scott is a Black woman, young Black woman in her early 20s, lives in New York. So you think about this, it's after the Civil War. Her dad, she grew up in a family of Black people where her dad was prosperous. Her dad owns like multiple pharmacies. But Peggy Scott's character is so interesting because even though this is set in the late 1800s, right after Civil War, before Reconstruction, a lot of the characteristics of Peggy Scott as a Black woman mirrors what Black women have to deal with today in the corporate world, working. Okay, so like Peggy works, but she doesn't have to work. Like her dad owns businesses, but Peggy, when I say it parallels Black women today, she had multiple jobs. Okay, so she worked for a newspaper. She was a writer. She also had a job as a private secretary for a wealthy woman who lived on the, I guess you'd say, the rich side of New York. So that came from wealth. So Peggy had multiple jobs. Black women, many Black women today, you know, have multiple jobs or are sustaining themselves in different ways. She also is living her life very differently, and it stands out. Meaning, like when during the show, Peggy with her boss, she works for a newspaper, go to Tuskegee, right? And that was during the time Booker T. Washington was building out Tuskegee, and the younger college age Black women see Peggy and was like, oh, this is a young Black woman from New York working at a newspaper as a writer, doing roles and doing things as a first that other young Black women see and is inspiring. We have that today, right? We have that same, so that characteristic of Peggy Scott, we have that today. For example, a video I did last week about Blake Bolden, who works for the ESPN, is a hockey player and has her own show on ESPN. She was the first Black woman to be in the National Women's Hockey League, and one of the first Black women to have her own hockey show on ESPN, and she's like the first, and she's this inspiring women. But just there was a quote in that season finale of The Gilded Age that Peggy's employer said about the importance of, like Peggy said, no distractions. So it ties back into Deanne Matthews' video about even if you're single, right, prioritizing your peace and rest, but also the importance of having no distractions. But in that video, in that season finale, her boss, Peggy Scott's boss, said, because Peggy said, we don't need any distractions because we're both on assignment. So her boss says, you deserve to be at the center of your own life. So centering yourselves, women, Black women, all women, during yourself, peace and rest during the holidays. It is important. And the last thing, and I'll wrap up, is the power of community and how it benefits everyone. And I say that the lesson here is finding your community and pouring into that, because it benefits not only yourself, but also you. So what do I mean by that is, your friends. So even if you're single, or if you are married and partner, but, building that community within your personal relationship, but also with your girlfriends, whether that's with your church or a sorority or with another volunteer organization or just a group of friends, and being there, because it benefits more than it benefits you, but it can also benefit the people around you. Like, for example, I think about how my mom built community. She built her community within the church. And for many, many years, and when she got sick, that community stepped in and helped myself, my dad, my sister, made sure my dad had meals. And, if I needed time to go run errands, like once my mom went into home hospice and my dad and I were caring for her full time. But if we needed a break, someone from the church or one of my mom's friends would come sit with her, so my dad and I could go, or my sister, we can go out and have a break. So that's what I'm saying. The power of community. So my mom, that was a community that my mom built, and people that she poured into over the years, and they poured back into her. But when she really, really needed her community, they stepped in to help her, but it also helped me and our family. And however you build that, and I know there's that other creator I referenced, Bourbon Bougie, talks about pouring to those who pour back into you. And not for selfish reasons, but genuinely, caring for other people and checking on your friends. And even if you don't see your friends and your family all the time, calling them, texting them, spending time with them, helping them out, and vice versa, because you just never know, right? And thinking back to the Rich Auntie, right, when I talked about the first, one of my aunties, the one who taught me about like the stock market and things like that. Now that she's actually going through some health challenges, but her community where she lives are stepping in to help her. And then we were talking just last week, and she said, how's your investments, your IRA? She said, make sure you're staying on top of that, because if you need to do something quickly, make a move, fly somewhere for your health, or, purchase something or do something big, or you can do that with no worries, because you have managed your money. But you also have your community that can help you. So the lessons I would say for those two creators that I mentioned and also linked is finding your community and pouring into it, managing your money, whatever your money is, but also taking care of yourself, right? Whatever that means to you. Self-care can mean, what self-care means to me may be different from what it means for you, but it's so important that you get that peace and that rest during the holiday, and you deserve that, right? You deserve to center yourself and have no distractions and be able to prioritize your needs, because it benefits not only yourself and those around you. That's it, y'all. Definitely check out those two creators' videos. Again, I know it's the holidays. This was very much an impromptu live. I didn't have any intentions of going live over the holidays. But yeah, those two videos, two creators, Mocha Mommy's video and Deanne Matthews' video, just they really blessed me and they spoke to me, and wanted to share that. I hope wherever you are, or however your holidays are going, I hope it's going good. I hope you all get some rest, that you take care of yourselves, okay? And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.